Greetings all, trust you're good. Let's have a look at Volatility 75. And in fact, we haven't had a look at this particular synthetic index for quite some time. And actually, I got a request from Mzi, who asked me to quickly have a look at this chart. So yeah, let's not waste any further time and get straight into the chart. And I'm on the weekly chart, as you guys can see. And just to recap a bit, guys, can you see that we had this very nice M structure over here, which had a very nice neckline at that point. We saw price breaking to the bottom side of that neckline and then heading back up to the neckline to test it. And at this point, we saw the market push further down, and that is where we would have looked for selling opportunities, right? To add to that, as much as we have this very nice M structure over here, which had a neckline at that point, can you guys also see that we had a smaller M structure at this point, which similarly had a neckline more or less at that level, and we saw price breaking to the bottom side of that neckline. And you guys know by now that whenever we have M structures, ideally we want to see the market, or rather price pushing to the bottom side of that neckline, hitting back to that neckline to test it, and at that point is where we normally look for potential selling opportunities. So similarly, it would be great if we got to see price revert to around this level, and at this level is where we would look for potential selling opportunities. We would look for potential selling opportunities. We're not just going to sell, we're going to look for potential selling opportunities, right? In fact, let me just actually add a neckline to that M structure. Just bear with me, guys. So we could say that more or less, just bear with me, guys. We could say that this is the neckline of that M structure, and just remember that necklines are areas and not so much an actual line, right? The next thing that I'm going to do is to utilize the Fibonacci retracement tool just to see if actually that neckline aligns with any key numbers that we have on the tool. So just bear with me, guys. Let's have a look. Fibonacci, I would add it in this manner more or less. And we can see, guys, that the neckline, which is over here of this M structure, aligns, we could say, with the 61.8% Fibonacci retracement level, and that is confluencing as far as looking for selling opportunities should price revert to this level over here, right? Over and above us having the M structure, the neckline of that M structure, and in the future possibly price retracing to the neckline, which aligns with the 61.8% Fibonacci retracement level, we would also need further confluence and further reasons for why we should be selling. We're not just gonna sell, right? Anyway, from here, what I'm gonna do is head down to the daily chart. Just bear with me, guys. Let's see. And here we are on the daily chart. And just to recap, guys, remember on the weekly chart we spoke about how we have this very nice M structure over here, right? However, on the daily chart we can see that the pattern has expressed itself as a head and shoulders pattern. As you guys can see, we could say that this is the left shoulder, this is the head, and this is the right shoulder, right? And remember, we spoke about potentially having price in the future coming back to this level to test it rather, and at that level is where we would look for potential selling opportunities, right? Anyway, let's proceed. We are on the daily chart, and what else do we see, guys, on the daily chart that we should be paying attention to? In fact, before we proceed, I just want to add my daily channel as well, so just bear with me, guys, while I do so. So there goes my daily channel more or less. There we go. And guys, we can see that we are in a very strong downward market, as you guys can see, right? And I expect price to continue to move further down. However, having said that, just keep in mind that we spoke about this M structure over here, this neckline, and price potentially coming back to the neckline to test it, and at that neckline is where we would look for potential selling opportunities. Anyway, let's proceed. What else do we see, guys, in regards to the daily chart of volatility 75. Another thing that I see that is also very much important is the fact that we have an inverted shoulders pattern at that level, right? And this tells us that, or it indicates that we might potentially see the market push further up. We don't know exactly to which level, and as I said, guys, the market may push up to this level to test the neckline, which is over here of that M structure, or we might potentially see price go all the way to around this level over here and then revert. Why do I say this level? The reason why I say that level is because we have this candlestick over here. In fact, let me just zoom in a bit, guys, just bear with me. Let's see. So we have this candlestick over here. It is a bullish candlestick with a very small body and quite a long upper wick, and it tells us that at the top where it ends we have a lot of liquidity sitting at that point, and liquidity represents money that needs to be triggered by the market at one point or another. So we could say that this level over here is a level of liquidity, and we might potentially see the market push further up to this level to trigger that liquidity and then push further down, right? So let's continue. What else do we see, guys? What else do we see? Just keep in mind that we have this inverted head and shoulders pattern at the bottom, and if we look, actually I would say that it started over here, right? This pattern, right, and it may end over here, and at this point is where we might potentially find a very nice selling opportunity, right? Anyway, from here what I'm gonna do is head down to the H4 chart. However, before I do so, I just want to add the neckline of that head and shoulders pattern, because guys, remember, head and shoulders patterns are, in fact, let me just draw that properly. Head and shoulders patterns are similar to M&W formations in that they too have necklines at that point, for example, and we want to see price breaking up to the neckline, coming back to the neckline of that head and shoulders pattern, and at that point is where we would look for potential buying opportunities, right? So I just want to add a neckline to that inverted head and shoulders pattern so that we don't forget about the fact that we might potentially see the market push further up as much as we are in a downward market, right? So we can say that that's the neckline of that pattern, which is the inverted head and shoulders pattern. As I said, guys, the market may push down to this level to test it, and at this level we might potentially see the market push further up, right? Just keep that in the back of your mind as we continue. Anyway, from here what I'm gonna do is head down to the H4 chart, as I said. Let's have a look. Here we are on the H4 chart, and just to recap a bit, guys, remember on the bigger time frames we spoke about that M structure at the top, which has a neckline at that point, and we said that we might potentially see in the future price coming back to that neckline to test it, and if it does so, at this point is where we would look for potential selling opportunities. Why? Because we have this M structure, we have the neckline, which is now also a very strong level of resistance, and we have the neckline also aligning with the 61.8% Fibonacci retracement level, which adds as confluence. What else did we speak about? We spoke about how we have this pattern over here, which is an inverted head and shoulders pattern, which has a neckline at that point, and we said that should price come back to this level, at this level we might potentially see the market push further up. I wouldn't really buy at this level to price come back to this level, and that is because we are in a very strong downward market. I'd rather wait for the market to head to this level, and at this level is where I would look for potential selling opportunities, or I would wait for the market to reach this level again, and at that level is where I would look for potential selling opportunities, right? Anyway, let's proceed. Yeah, so we are on the H4 chart, guys, and the first thing that I'm going to do in regards to the H4 chart is to add my H4 channel. So just bear with me, guys, while I do so. Let's see my H4 channel, and apologies for the background noise. There's some dogs in the neighborhood that are barking. Let's see. I would say that this would be my H4 channel, and just remember that all of our drawings need to be as accurate as possible. Anyway, here we are on the H4 chart, guys. So what do we see on the H4 chart? Remember, guys, we have that inverted head and shoulders pattern with a neckline over the, at that level. As much as we have that, guys, can you also see that we have what seems to be an opposing structure in the form of an M formation at that point, which also has a neckline at that level, right? I know that a lot of people, as we speak, have been selling at this point. Why do I say so? That is because they see a triple top of sorts. Can you guys see that, right? And the anticipation in as far as they are concerned is that the market would push number one to this level over here. Why that level? That is because we have this channel over here, and we had a first touch over here, or a first rejection, a second rejection over here, and in the future we might get a third rejection over here. A lot of people are going to be buying at this point over here, where we have the potential third rejection. And just also bear in mind that we also have the neckline of that triple top or double top, right? And yeah, it now serves as a very strong level of support, and that is because we've had multiple rejections at that point, and in the future we might get a third rejection at this point, which also aligns with this trend line where we've had a rejection here, a rejection there, and in the future we might get another rejection at this point. And if things go in the manner in which I've just described, chances are the market may push further up to around this level, and at that level, I said, guys, we may look for potential selling opportunities, right? We may look for potential selling opportunities, right? And as far as VIX 75 goes, guys, at this point I would not be looking for any buying opportunities. I would only be looking to sell, right? I would just wait for the market to head to number one, this point, and at that point I would look for potential selling opportunities, and again at that neckline, which is over here of that big M structure, and at this point is where again I would look for potential selling opportunities, right? It's not to say that there aren't any buying opportunities, it's just that it's a bit risky in as far as buying in as far as this particular synthetic index goes, which is volatility 75, right? So what else do we see, guys? What else do we see that we should be paying attention to? At this point I don't see much, guys. I really don't see much. Let's see, I really don't see much in as far as buying or selling opportunities go. However, remember that I said a lot of people have been seeing this rejection at this point and have been selling. However, just remember that we have this level over here. It's a very strong level of support, and the market may push to this level only to push further up, right? And that is because, as I said, we had a rejection here, we had a rejection there, and in the future we might get another rejection at this point, which may support price going up, right? So that is it in as far as my analysis goes, guys. I think the best thing to do at this point in time is to wait for the market to, get to this point, and at this point is where you should look for potential selling opportunities, and again look for or rather wait for the market, if it does so, to get to that level. Sorry, not that level, but rather let me just actually zoom out a bit, but rather this level over here, which is the neckline of that big M structure that I spoke about, right? The reason why I say so, guys, as I said, is because we are in a very strong downward trajectory, as you guys can see, and there is plenty of scope for the market to push further down. If you also look at the monthly chart, you will see that we have a very, very big M structure, which has a neckline. It actually looks like this on the monthly chart. It actually looks like this, right? It's a very big M structure, and it has broken its neckline, right? And I expect the market to push further down to end exactly where it started, more or less. And at this point, we might potentially then look for buying opportunities, right? However, for this entire move to finish itself off, it may take some time, even months or even a year, right? So that is it, guys, in as far as my analysis goes. I hope that makes sense, and if you have any further questions, just let me know. Otherwise, peace out.